Hi, my name is Jim Nucciarino. I'm the head golf professional here at Lexington Country Club. And here's the tip of the week. Today we're going to be talking about chipping, the short game, and we all know that the short game can cover a multitude of sins if we have problems getting to the green with the long game. So this is very, very important part of the game, and it's not until golfers start hitting the ball real well with their long game that they come to us with the short game. And that, of course, is they're getting near the green in 2 and they're walking off the green taking a 6 or 7 because they can't get it up and down. So today I want to talk about chipping and give you a few pointers that hopefully will allow you to get the ball a little closer to the hole and to be able to get it up and down more frequently. And we want to do that by first setting up the proper way, consistently setting up the right way and the same way. Because the number one complaint we find in golf is that the biggest complaint I have is that I'm inconsistent. So if you want to be consistent at any part of the game, you always have to be organized and set up the same way every time. So I want to go over the pre-swing routine, your checklist, as to how you're going to set up to get ready to hit this chip shot. First of all, I want to keep my feet relatively close together with an open stance. I also want to be thinking this is so much like a putting stroke. I'm going to be setting up with my eyes over the ball, so I'm going to be much closer to it. Also, which is very important, you want to make sure you choke down on the grip, because it's a lot easier to make solid ball contact when you're holding it down here, as opposed to holding it up here where my head is much farther and I don't have the security of holding it down low. And now I feel much better and feel like I can hit the ball with quite a bit of success time after time. So feet close, open stance. My normal shot I'll play in the middle. If I have to hit down on the ball with a tight lie, I'll move it back towards my right foot. What I also like to do is try to have the shaft of the club in line with my left arm. So it's a straight line pretty much, and I'm going to keep my weight on the left foot. Eyes over the ball, so I would say I'm no more than about 12 to 14 inches from the ball itself. You certainly don't want to be standing far away because you'll be having a whole lot of problems if you do that. So make sure your eyes are over the ball, just like putting. That will allow the club to go back straight as we want it to do and to go straight through. Alright, so that's part one. Last thing I do with part one is my grip. And what I like to do is, again, think of chipping very much like putting. So I try to use my putting grip, and that makes it even simpler because, again, I'm thinking of putting. So I get over the ball and I'm set up. Part two, now that I'm set up, what do I do to hit this ball? Well, the most important thing is to be thinking of your putting stroke. We don't want to be using our hands, our wrists. A lot of problems when we do that, and I think that's the most common problem with chipping. We tend to do what feels natural, and I think breaking the wrist feels natural, but you know what golf is. Golf is, if it feels right, it's probably wrong. So golf is learned, as we know, and if we repeat this enough times without breaking our wrist, rocking our shoulders, we're going to be able to get real consistent with it, and after a while that will actually become comfortable. As far as feel, I do want to say this because it's very important. One of the big problems is golfers tend to hold it too tightly, and by holding it too tightly you don't get a good feel for it. And the number one problem, if we haven't played golf in a long time, is that we tend to say, yeah, I haven't played, I've lost my feel. And that's usually from grabbing it too tight. It's hard to have feel. So try to have a relaxed grip throughout the stroke. Set up. And what I'm going to think of is rock, rock with my shoulders, keeping my weight at all times on the left side. I don't want to use my hands and wrists because that's a lot of problems. Also, if I can keep the stroke from here to there pretty much, there's very little that can go wrong from here to here. Unlike pitching or a full swing when we're going way back and through, a lot more can go wrong with that. So again, think of a putting stroke, and if you have a good lie, you're going to feel like you're just rocking and brushing it off the ground. If you have a poor lie, well, that's different. You've got to get under it a little more, so we're going to put a little more weight on our left foot and move the ball back a little closer to the right foot. And by staying on my left foot, again, that's going to keep my head still throughout the stroke, and it'll also produce a steeper angle of attack on the ball, which is so important when you have a tight lie. Okay? Set up. I'm going to use my putter grip. Now I'm ready. I'm going to rock my shoulders and not break my wrist. Anytime the head is coming up here or following through up here, you're going to have problems with chipping. So you want to make sure that it's about here, depending upon the distance, of course. So from here to here, very little can go wrong. I'm sure you'll all agree. But when we break our wrist, we're going to have a lot of problems. Okay? So we're going to rock and rock. Stay on the left foot throughout the shot. That will assure that your head stays still throughout the shot. If you have problems sculling it, most likely you're back on the right foot. And we all know we don't want that. So if you try these few techniques that we've talked about today with the chip or bump and run as we call it, I'm sure it's going to help you get up and down in 1 or 2 instead of in 3 or 4.